and I say this, I think we say this as a country which has been subjected to it with an intensity and a time period which actually nobody else has been over the last 8 years. Because don't think terrorism, began now, or it was Kashmir Valley, or it was Punjab. Terrorism started at the moment of our independence, when so-called raiders came from across Pakistan. Okay, these were people. The general who later on, organized this, put it in his memoirs as a proud achievement. So from day one, we have faced terrorism, and it is something about which we must have absolute clarity, because you cannot respond to something if you yourself are in doubt about what it is. So what has changed in this country today, I think, is, and I particularly, think the Mumbai 26/11 to me was the tipping point. That a lot of people were very confused till they saw the true graphic, impactful face of terrorism on 26/11. Now, what we need to do first is we need to counter, because I know there are people who said, oh, we had a very smart strategy of turning the other cheek. I don't think it's not just the mood of the nation. I don't think it makes sense. I don't think it makes strategic sense. If somebody is practicing cross-border terrorism, you must respond. You must extract, impose a cost out there. So the first part is, how do we ourselves develop the capacities, the mindset, the willpower, etc. to do that? And you can see the change in the last decade out there. The second is actually to delegitimize it. That the rest of the world should not think, because what had happened, because other countries had an interest, they made it out as though there was partition of India, then after that these two guys kept quarreling. Okay, today terrorism is also part of the post-partition debates. Unless we hammer home that terrorism message, terrorism must be outside what is allowed in legitimate competition between states. States will compete, but some things, at the end of the day, into global order means there are rules of the game. And when somebody clearly violates rules of the game, it cannot be you are violating, it's okay, but I am violating, it's not okay. Rules are rules. So, delegitimate, that's why to me, diplomacy, politics, lawfare, law enforcement, intelligence cooperation, all these come as part, the Home Minister, for example, has taken great interest in furthering this no money for terror initiative. Because at the end of the day, what sustains terrorism? It's money. So how do we go after terrorism? And we must, this is one area we must be actually right at the forefront. The third is when you say what will happen in 2030. I think if there are robust responses, if there's continuous delegitimization, and then people see the countries which practiced it, they are discovering that the terrorism comes back to bite them. That today, there is terrorism happening in our neighboring country because they have grown, they have nurtured these forces, and those very same forces are turning on them. So, just like when we were speaking about, development, you can be an exemplar of good development. You can also be an exemplar of bad policy. That, when people see what is happening to a country which is consumed by the very forces that it has nurtured, I think that is also a message to the world. So I very much hope that by 2030 we will have a very, all these together will actually create a change out there. On, the police games and